I thought it was just a great team effort by our guys. Our bench came in and really changed the game, and we ended up playing 11 guys, and everybody had a contribution to that. We were able to establish the physicality against a pretty veteran big team from the get-go, and even though we didn't make shots at the beginning, we stuck with the game plan and trusted what we were doing. And then Alex was an absolute monster on the rim, protecting the rim, changing shots, 3 blocks of steal, just having the defensive anchor down there. But it was the whole group, Bud setting the tone early, but then it was our pace on offense, sharing the ball, getting up and down the court. But we stayed with it, and that was the part that was really great about the game. Go ahead, guys.
Talk about Key's individual performance and just in these last 2 games and just how he's progressed since just the summer.
I thought, he's obviously scored, obviously shot the ball really well, but I thought his impact on defense, I think he ended up with 3 blocks himself, 2 steals. His activity guarding a guy that's a lot bigger than him, and obviously the shot making and the playmaking was impressive, but this guy's put a lot of time, he's growing. Tremendous performance for him.
You talk about guarding a guy bigger than him. He also guarded at times Flag, he guarded Davis, he guarded Hardy. What does his defensive versatility allow you guys to do in addition to having Alex as well?
Yeah, it just gives us versatility, that size and length. I thought a lot of our guys did that tonight. We were able to switch and do some things that be able to keep the ball in front of us, and we kept the pressure on the whole game. And that's what we wanted to do, and we were able to execute that pretty well by our guys tonight.
What is it about him as a defender that at such a young part of his career, he has the ability to play at a high level that he does defensively while in foul trouble, to gain the trust that he has with you to keep him out there?
I think this was something that he started doing last year. We started seeing him make that progress throughout the year, but this guy's an intentional guy. He's gotten bigger and stronger. This goes into the work, that he's put in over the summer, but the mindset is the key for him. He embraces the challenge.
I think you're talking about pregame, but it also seems like he's kind of developing into one of the leaders of this group. What have you seen from him in that area?
I think we have a team bunch of that, to be honest, but he does it, everybody does it in their own unique way. He does it and I think we have most of our rosters like this. We have guys who love to work, and I think there's a shared standard for how we work here and how we go about things, and he's obviously a great example of that returning, and he kind of sets the tone for us, but we have a lot of guys who do that. That's why this team is a fun group to coach, because they want to put the time in. And Kyshawn's right at the top there for sure.
Corey Kispert played 21 minutes tonight, and to start the game, he was vocal off the bench, even when he wasn't in, yelling at the guys, telling them when to switch, telling them when to pick up a player on defense, or even recognizing a mismatch on offense. How important is it to have a guy like that off the bench?
I think we talked about this pregame with Corey, the stuff that he brings, the intangibles, but also his leadership. He's another guy who leads by example, how he plays, how he communicates, and he had a big shot late for us in the 4th quarter when we were a little bit struggling to score, but that was a great thing about tonight. It was a total team effort, and I really thought that second unit came in and really changed the game for us, and we have some depth on our team. Played 11, everybody contributed. That was a good team win. Go ahead, Josh.
Brian, what did you think of Tre Johnson's intensity on defense?
Terrific. I think everybody's was tonight. I thought he was fighting over screens, pressuring the ball. I think what they ended up for turnovers, 21. I thought that was a group effort, but I thought his intensity was high.
It seemed like he helped set the tone. A lot of guys set the tone.
Yeah.
But there was one play where he was up on a ball handler, committed a foul, and you were very happy. What did you like with that sequence?
For us, it's just, we want to pressure the ball and make teams uncomfortable where they're running their offense. If you're going to get an occasional foul by playing hard when we're not in the bonus, no problem. So that was great. He was pressuring, trying to set the tone for how we were picking up to extend their catches and stuff. But he wasn't the only one. We had a lot of guys do that tonight.
You mentioned the 21 turnovers, but also the 11 steals. I imagine you obviously have the metrics a lot quicker than we would. This would have probably been a very high deflection rate night as well too for you all.
Yeah.
What was it about the activity on that end of the floor? And I know you guys focus on picking teams up in a specific area, but what was it that allowed you guys to turn them over and just be as active as you were on defense?
I think it was just the commitment of the whole group to do it. There was no let off within any part of the game. Even when we weren't making shots early, we continued to guard. And that stuff is contagious. And it was 1 through 11. All the guys who got out there were doing it. We got a turnover on the first possession. Just trying to put as much ball pressure as we can, make them uncomfortable. But we did it for 48 minutes, and that was really the key. Was we were able to keep that pressure on. There was no drop of intensity on either unit.
Two things I heard you mention tonight is that it's a fun group to coach and that everyone is working to get better. I know it's still early in the season, but how important will that be when you guys get further into the season and it gets a little tougher?
One thing we always talk about is that how we're going to get there, and the get there is the day-to-day process, enjoying the habit building. Something we take very seriously as a group, and I have a group that loves that stuff because that's going to get you through all the tough times. There's always tough times in every team in the league, for sure. That's just part of the deal. But how can you be consistent? How you can be resilient? I think it's just by the work and just getting used to doing that stuff on a day-to-day basis. That's what we're just going to keep focusing on.
Just talk about how Cam acclimated to this team. I know it's early, but just how he's been able to adapt to this team.
It's been great. I mean, he gives us a great element of putting pressure on the rim, physicality of defense. You can see when he can attack, he can finish, and you can see the kick-out passes. Just a nice presence. Really enjoyed getting him to know him and having him part of our group. So I've been thrilled with the way he's been playing so far.
There was a moment where he took a step back three and you called a timeout shortly after, and it seemed like you weren't particularly happy with that shot selection. What did you see? What did you not like?
We're just always going to play to our standard. You know, when we can play downhill and kick out, we're pretty tough to guard. That's everybody. So just quick adjustment to that, and we get on to the next play.
Second straight game where you guys have gone down early. Second straight game where you guys have come back. This time you were able to pull out a win. What does that say about the group?
We're just playing the full 48. You know, like the game's a long game, but we stayed with it. You know, didn't make shots early. That's okay. That's going to happen. That's part of the game. But can we keep defending? That was the story of tonight. We defended the whole.
Dallas seemed to have some momentum there in that fourth quarter. What was it that either steadied your team or stemmed that momentum and just shuttered it out on the road?
Got a couple stops. Corey hit a big three. Bob hit a big three that ended up being like an and one. We stayed the game down. Chris made obviously a big shot there, but it was really our defense. You know, teams are going to make runs in this league. We all know that. But I liked our composure down the stretch. We made a couple turnovers, but for the most part, knew what we wanted to get to. We shared the ball, and we were able to get good shots and continue to set our defense. And that's what we were trying to do. At the end, it worked out.
Bob seemed a little discouraged at points during the game, and after at the end of it, Kyshawn kind of put his arm around him. What does it say on a night like Kyshawn had that he was kind of helping out his teammate like that?
Yeah, we all try to help each other out. Just couldn't be in a good teammate, but Bob had a terrific night. Like I set the tone for how we were going to play. He was terrific tonight for me.
How good were?
I'm sorry.
I know it was a team effort, but how good were some of Keyshawn's closeouts and some of his multiple efforts there?
You know, like he's growing defensively. Yeah, obviously we can see a little bit of him on the perimeter and also getting some stuff at the rim. Want him to be a two-way player. That's what we want all of our guys to be. And yeah, I thought he had some good moments tonight. But like I said, that was really the whole team. Total team effort tonight. Thanks everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.